Polo G, the GOAT, his newest project album.
Mhm.
This is, I guess, truly an album, 47 minutes long, 16 tracks. I want to let you kind of lead the way with Polo G because I I had very mixed feelings about this album. At points, I was really like, "Oh, this is very solid, very like heartfelt, soulful music." And then at points, I was like, "That is this the same track? Am I skipping around?" Felt very samey to me at times. It went out with a bang though, and we'll talk about that, I think. Um, but how are you feeling about the GOAT from Polo G?
Yeah, uh, I will agree that with 16 tracks, we could have cut a few of these. Not all of them reach the same highs as I think the best songs on the track listing do. That being said, I really love this. Polo G is someone I've thought highly of for some time. And namely, I think he's just like, he's the best rapper right now out of Chicago.
Hmm.
He's making the best music right now. And he's really cool because he's a product of the original drill scene out of Chicago. G Herbo, Chief Keef, and Lil Durk are kind of the forefathers of that. And they're all making music still. I think G Herbo and Durk in particular are probably making the best music they've ever made. G Herbo's PTSD album was easily his best. Wish we had reviewed that. We had let that pass. We had a busy week. And Durk, too, who just dropped Just Cause Y'all Waited 2, was also really good. And that kind of music is special for just kind of highlighting the pain that these artists have gone through in their lives, living in tough circumstances in and around Chicago. And people found that relatable across the globe, hence why that kind of lyricism has since moved to Brooklyn and the UK. In Polo G's case, I think he has just a knack for making like really sticky songs that also have really meaningful lyrics. And if you can look at the reception to this project, I think it's really, really positive. And the whole like highlighting your pain sound is pretty in vogue. Like we get that from a lot of the Southern guys now too. Think of NBA YoungBoy, who's an absolutely huge superstar. He's doing the same thing, but he kind of has more of that like singy Southern drawl to him. In Polo G's case, he almost has like this smooth way of delivering his music. Like he almost has, he's almost like softly spoken, yet there is a lot of punch behind what he's saying. So in terms of just like highlighting the struggle music, I think this is really top tier shit. And like the highs are just really high to me. So I did really like it.
Yeah, I think there's no denying that he's a great lyricist and his verses are very strong. I think that was the thing I found myself. I actually listened to this when was going for a run. I found myself kind of getting lost in the lyrics and kind of actually like feeling like I was really understanding the picture he was trying to paint with a lot of things. And it caught me, I think, because a lot of times, especially when I'm like working out listening to music, I kind of just really fall into the beat and the things going on around.
Of course.
But the fact he was pulling me in with his verses, I think, was kind of what I found very special about this album. But then as I zoomed out and was kind of feeling the music, I did find myself feeling like the tracks all kind of were just piano based, and I didn't feel that much variance in them. I think that's kind of where I was a little bit like, maybe this could have been cooked a little bit better, or like you said, maybe just trimmed a bit to make a more concise project. But definitely I was impressed with his lyricism. Like you said, it's interesting because when you were talking about the best music coming out of Chicago, are you talking about only for this scene, or are you just seeing like in general he's the best artist out of Chicago right now?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, we talk about Chicago hip hop a lot, right? Because on one hand, it has a wealth of influential OGs, right? Kanye, Common, Lupe, right? And then it also is the scene of both music from the streets, drill, and evolution of that. And then also kind of like where jazz rap is based out of right now in terms of Chance and Saba and No Name and people that are not from Chicago but are pretty close from Chicago, like Smino. Like there's a lot going on in Chicago hip hop. And Polo G, I think, once Chance took a step back last year, I think the lane was open for him. And I mean, you can certainly quibble, especially with the jazz rap people. In terms of people that are like popular and mainstream, though, I think it's definitely Polo G.
Wow. I mean that's a really high compliment for him. So tell me what songs off this album, what were like the highs for you that you said were really high?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I really like 21. He has, I think, a really quotable line where he's like, "Can't relapse off these drugs, man. R.I.P. to Juice. Tweaking off these perks. I put my last one with you."
Mhm.
Hearing him actually talk about how his friend and fellow Chicagoan who died of ODing, hearing him actually like learn from that, I think means a lot. And because Polo G is so popular with the kids like Juice World, I really hope that's a message that lasts. But I think what blew me away in terms of lines was actually on "I Know" in the second verse, where he's kind of going through this whole story about talking about a kid, and it could be autobiographical, I don't know, but he says he kind of has this like he like pitches the delivery a little bit and like almost sings it a bit, but he's like, by his auntie, he was molested as a baby boy, messed up his head, it even changed the way he plays with toys. And like I ran that back a few times. I was like, fuck, man, that shit's hitting. And then I think Juice World's feature on Flex that was really strong as well. That was great to hear. Heartless, I really like. That's an older song from last year, but I think that song's awesome. And then, I mean, the last track, "Wishing for a Hero," BJ the Chicago Kid, that's sampling Bruce Hornsby's "The Way It Is,"
Mhm.
made famous by Tupac in Changes. And he's not only just doing that sample, he's doing Tupac's Changes flow.
Yep.
And like Tupac, he's talking about some heavy shit in terms of how Malcolm X and Martin Luther King inspire him, and talking about like race relations and police relations of right now. Like I was just blown away, and like honestly like kind of made me tear up a little bit when I listened to it a second time. Yeah, even though a lot of that struggle I really obviously can't really relate to. So I think his highs are just really fucking high. And of course, let's not forget "Go Stupid" with Son for Vegas and Emily Chapa. That's a TikTok song right now too. So he's kind of just got the generic banger if you want it.
Yeah. Go Stupid was the song I probably most associate him with because it is so in the TikTok I don't know culture right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Wishing for a Hero, that was what I would mention in terms of like going out with a bang. Because like I said, I found myself especially near the end, feeling like a bit of it was redundant, and
Yeah.
then that comes on and like noticing that he was using Roger Hornsby's "The Way It Is" and copying the flow. I just was like, this is fucking crazy. Like I something that's totally unexpected, totally shifted the mood at the end. I felt like it kind of ended the album on this really high note, and it made me want to go back and listen to some of the other songs. I thought that was an excellent choice and an impressive uh, showing by him as well. So Polo G, I mean, I think you said he's one of the ones that is freshman bound for sure, right?
Oh, definitely. That's a lock. Yep.
So with that, we should be getting that fairly soon, a couple weeks.
If it's the June cover, we might get it this week or next. So we'll know soon.
We'll be talking about it when it drops. I'm sure we'll be talking about Polo G.